Welcome to Shiny Tree Trash. Do you ever get frustrated and really annoyed trying to thread those needles? Does your cotton get gnarled up at the ends? It can be really frustrating and really difficult for some people. So today I'm going to share with you some tips and some hopefully helpful advice that will help you not be as frustrated when it comes to sewing. Okay, so I've been sewing for years and I actually find threading a needle really easily, but I appreciate that loads of people find it really difficult. The simplest thing, threading a needle, can put them off sewing. So I'm going to show you what I do generally to thread my needles, and I've actually learned something new myself that I'm going to try out and see how it works, because it looks like it's a magic trick. So we're going to start off just by introducing some of the basic equipment and materials that we're going to need to do our threading. So at the top here we've got some embroidery cotton. That generally comes on a skein of embroidery thread that you will probably recognise to be like that. We'll explain it in a little bit more detail. Secondly, we've got some regular sewing cotton that comes on a bobbin like this in various colours and sizes. You might come across this for your sewing machine or for hand stitching and tacking. Here I've got a little bit of beeswax. Alternatively, I've got abundance of this because I'm a beekeeper, but you could use soap alternatively, and that's just for getting those edges, the ends of your cotton together. Instead of it being frayed at the ends, we can just use that. So we'll go into that in a bit more detail later. Then what we've got is a needle threader. We've got a pair of scissors, and we've got a variety of needles, and I'm going to go into those in a bit more detail now. Okay, so here we've got a needle, not to be confused with pins. We've got the ends of the needles, the sharp bits that you're going to put through the fabric, and at the opposite end you've got the eye of the needle. So this one's quite a large one, which would be typically used for the embroidery cotton. And then below that we've got more of a medium-sized one. And here I've got some self-threading needles we're going to look at also. Okay, so we're going to start off first of all by looking at our regular cotton. The regular cotton, I would begin simply by just cutting off the end so you've got a nice straight clean edge to start with. I just pull that through between my thumb and my first finger, and I would just bring it to the edge of my nail. Then I'll bring the eye of the needle, and I'm using the bigger one just so it's easier to see, towards my thumb, towards the end of the cotton, and I just gently push it through. I pinch it with my finger and I draw it through the eye of the needle. So that's simple. So the difficulty when sewing is that the cotton end can get quite tufted like that at the end. So what we can do is just put the thread over the beeswax and just pull it across, and that will just help the fibres come together, and hopefully you can see that it's not as fluffy at the end. Draw that close to your thumbnail. Bring the eye of the needle then towards your nail. I'm working at a slightly different angle, so it's a bit harder for me to see, but you just bring it to the end like that. Once it's through, just pinch it with your nail and it's through. So I'm going to show you another trick now. You gently put the cotton over the palm of your hand. You don't need to apply any attention to that. You're going to lay the eye of the needle across the cotton. You're then going to firmly press down and move the needle backwards and forwards, and it just magically draws the cotton in a loop through the eye of the needle. The trick then is to pinch that and draw the cotton through, and you threaded your needle. Okay, so I'm going to just show you that one more time because it is like magic. I'm going to show you that this time with a smaller eye needle. So that's the needle I'm going to use now, the medium sized one as opposed to the larger one. So threads across the palm of your hand, no tension applied. You're going to apply your pressure down with the needle, with the eye over the cotton. You're then just going to wiggle that backwards and forwards. Does take a little bit of practice, I've found. There it is. So it just loops through the eye of the needle, and then you just got to pull that loop through the needle and there it is, threaded. Okay. So another tip and a bit of a trick, if both of those two methods don't work for you, what you can do is just loop your cotton over your needle like so, pull it tight, pull your needle through, so you don't have the raw edge of the cotton end there, you've just got a little loop. Then you can just put your eye towards that loop, withdraw your thumb slightly, and it starts to loop through. Pinch that loop and then pull it through the eye of the needle. So that's another method. So there's 3 methods there. I think the top tip is to make sure that that end is not sort of ballooned out. Okay, that it's a nice compact end to be able to get that through. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time quickly talking about the embroidery thread. The embroidery thread is a lot more difficult to thread because it's bulkier and it's made up of 6 ends. So those individual fibres can be split down. You can split it into 2s or into 3s depending on what you're wanting to do, and all you do is unravel it. So here's one that I've unravelled, and you can see that that is actually 2. You can actually see that, oh sorry, it's 3. You can see that this is 3 fibres. We need these 3 brought together. So we can do our same trick with the beeswax. As I said, you could use soap. And we should see now that these 3 ends are together a bit more. And that just makes it a little bit stiffer, a little bit easier to work with. I can still see though that it's a little bit fluffy right at the very end. So we're just going to give that a little snip as well. If you give that a snip at about 45 degrees, that helps. So I'm going to use the larger needle now. So I'm going to withdraw that as before between my thumb and my first finger. I'm then going to put the eye of the needle to it, making sure that those fibres are together properly. I'm going to withdraw the yarn through my thumb and finger, put the eye of the needle to it, and that's it threaded. My new magic trick I don't think works very well with embroidery cotton, but I'm just going to demonstrate it. I've not managed to do it yet. So you just lay the embroidery cotton as we did before, with no pressure over the palm of your hand, no tension, sorry. You place the eye of the needle over the top, you just rub that backwards and forwards, and you can see it doesn't really draw that through. I think because it's multiple yarns together, it's not working. So that method doesn't work. So what we'll do is we'll do the looping round method. Just going to use some of the wax just to help keep those fibres together. So we're going to take the cotton, we're going to wrap it around the body of the needle, and we're going to withdraw that needle. So we've got a small loop there. We're going to then put the eye of the needle to that loop, and you can see that it's come through the eye. We're going to pinch it with my thumbnail and then just pull the cotton through, and then you've got one threaded needle with the embroidery cotton. Okay, so here we have the self-threading needles. Compared to a regular needle, the eye is a little bit different. You can see at the top it's got a little groove, and that's where you can put your cotton and pull it down. So we're going to just do a quick demonstration with these. I'm going to use a self-threading needle with the regular cotton, just because the embroidery cotton is too thick to go through this needle. The way that this works is that you just lay the cotton over the top end of the needle, and then you just need to apply a pressure, pulling it down. It's as easy as that. It just clicks into the eye. I'm going to just demonstrate that one more time. You lay your cotton around your finger, or however it feels easiest for you to work. I'm just doing it this way just so you can visually see it easier. You're going to place the cotton over the end of the self-threading needle, if I can do that, like so. You're just going to apply a downward pressure. I don't know if you could hear that little click, just demonstrates that it's through the eye of the needle. So those are really dead easy. So failing all the other methods, you could get yourself a pack of self-threading needles. I personally don't like these needles because that little end, with it being open, creates like a problem when you're actually stitching. I find using these that they get caught with the fibres when stitching, and I find a lot of breakages with these needles. So I don't use them, but you can see they're probably the easiest needles to thread. Okay, so finally we have a needle threader. So this is a cute little one that I have. You can get more regular shaped ones that are like a silver metal with a prong sticking out. If I can add a picture with the power of technology, I will place that somewhere on screen or in the link below, just to show you what a more traditional needle threader looks like. So they work in the same way. We have a point that will go through the needle. So this can be a method that also helps, and if the other methods that we've talked through so far doesn't work, then you could try this. So what you need to do is, with your needle threader, you need to put the metal end through the eye of the needle, like that. Once you've done that, you can lay your cotton or embroidery thread, so I'm going with the embroidery thread through the large needle. You put that simply across the needle threader. In a more traditional one, it would go through it, and then you withdraw that needle threader through the eye of the needle, like that, to give it a bit of a tug there, and then you pull one end of your cotton through the eye of the needle, and there it is threaded. I'm going to repeat that exercise again. Using cotton and the finer needle. So here we've got the finer needle. We're going to repeat the exercise again by putting the needle threader through the eye of the needle like that. If you've got a more traditional one, you just poke it through. You loop the cotton over the end of your needle threader. You pull the needle threader through, back through the eye where it came, and then you just pull your cotton through and you've threaded your needle. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you like what you've seen, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to see more videos, then there's a little link in the corner down below. Ding that bell if you want to follow and be notified of when new videos have been released. And please feel free to share it if you think this would be helpful to somebody else that you know that gets really frustrated threading those needles. Thank you.